Bobby Jacoby. No, sorry. That's who you were back then. Yeah.
How are you?
Melvin.
How was it?
Robert Chain. Melvin.
It was fun.
Rhonda LeBeck.
Finn Carter.
Conrad Bachman, Dr. Jim.
You don't recognize me without the jean shorts and
And the basketball. This is small enough, we don't need microphones. Do any of you have any questions about this? Anything that struck you? This is your chance.
I can't get all the way down there.
I'll
Oh, you're
stay
good,
up
yeah.
here with
I'm
Conrad.
still in the hole.
Yeah, we'll hang here.
You're
It's a
dead.
small group.
I'm just gonna tell my quick story real quick. When I auditioned for the role, the next day I had a call back for the producers and the writers over 20th. And just before I went in, the casting director stopped me and she said, because I had to scream and everything else as I was being sucked into the hole, and she said, could you do me a favor? I really have a terrible headache today. Could you not scream? So as I was doing the part, I got up to that part and I went, she asked me not to scream today because she's got a headache. Everybody cracked up in the room, but I got the part.
Exactly. That's the point. Well, I have an audition
You were an
story.
hors d'oeuvre. You were an hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah, you were. That's right, you were.
The hole was about 9 feet deep. It was filled with vermiculite. It was all came down on top of me. I was covered with it in the hole.
I think you said it was an airbag that they kept
They
deflating.
did.
and so
I was on an
keep going
airbag,
down.
and as I hit the airbag, they started letting a little bit of the air out of it, so I kept going down farther and farther down into the hole.
Until your face was covered with vermiculite.
I was covered with it.
I noticed that as an actor. I looked at that this last screening and went, oh, it's in his mouth.
Yeah.
I had it in my mouth.
he's going for it. He's going for it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's living it.
I have a leading one, and this is actually to help you, Michael. So there's a long-standing story that you got up on a desk when you were auditioning, and that's what Ron says, that you did this or whatever. Finn, what was your audition story? Like,
You have an audition
So
story?
I've heard that
yes.
everyone says Michael, but I didn't know that there was any humor in this script at all. Right? I mean, I just didn't get it. I took it so seriously. I was doing a play in San Diego at the Old Globe Theater, Broadway bound, right? But that didn't happen. But so on Mondays I would go down to LA to audition. I mean, up to LA to audition for things. And so this was a Monday audition. And I was like, okay, Monsters Underground, and okay. And then I got a call back, okay. But she was a seismologist. I was like, oh no. So I spent a whole week. I hired an actual seismologist to work with me. I read
Yeah.
every book possible on seismology. And I'm not kidding you. And I completely took this character so seriously that at one point, if you've heard me say this before, whatever, but a gazillion years ago, I turned to Kevin in one of the scenes and I said, are we in the same movie? Like, I had no idea. Like, I just didn't get it. Thank God I didn't. Because
Well, you
I
were the
feel
voice of sanity
Yeah.
in that thing. So I think you played it just right.
Well, thank
You're
you.
great.
But
So your audition, like that was my
but anyway,
yeah,
but
yeah,
back
yeah.
to the table thing. So because I took it so seriously, I was crawling under the table and I was jumping on top and so. But you all credit Michael with the climb. Did you go on the table too?
No.
No, I don't. I don't remember. Ron Underwood
It was
says to
I.
this day
Yeah.
that I jumped up on the top of
I
his
did
desk and prepared. Was
Well, you
pretending to
might
shoot
have
it.
done that.
But I don't. I swear I don't remember that. I think it's his imagination.
No, I have a funny interview story. I actually was doing a different movie called Meet the Applegates with Ed Begley and
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Channing wearing roaches that were. It was one of those. And the first AD was Mike DePuzian. And he goes, hey, I'm prepping for this movie, and you've been such an asshole on this movie. You would be so, you have to do this
Perfect
movie.
asshole.
I go, okay, that sounds good. And he's like, you gotta meet these guys, right? And so he said, come on down. So I remember going in to meet Ron, and there were people outside, like, waiting to read. And after like 5 or 10 minutes, he just goes, hey, do you want to be in this movie? And I was like, wow, that's great. And then I look back and I go, wow, what did I do in that
Wow.
5 or 10 minutes that would like made him realize, like, you're gonna really be a great jerk in this movie. But it was like, that was it. Like, it was great.
But you were 12 then, right?
I was 15.
Okay,
But
right.
Ron, I had known Ron Ron had been doing industrial, and my sister was in one. So
Oh,
we would do these
funny.
corporate videos.
I didn't
And
know
so I knew Ron, and my mom knew Ron. But that was like a really cool experience.
Ron Underwood will be here tomorrow.
The director.
Not-
The director,
Yes, he will be here tomorrow for the the rest of the week.
Ron too.
So you know, we had a
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How funny.
I always forget names, but like the cast and crew of this film were so amazing, and Alexander Krasinski and Ron, who's not here right now, but all of the crew who I lived in the same hotel with and had rap beer with every night. Just like it was just amazing. Everyone was amazing.
So where did you stay?
We were
It
in
was a
Motel.
higher up state at the
We took over all the motels in Lone Pine.
Lone
Oh, yeah.
Pine,
There's two of
California.
them. Were there two of them?
yeah Lone
Shadow of
Pine.
Mount
Maybe.
Rainier.
I was at the
yeah.
Dow Villa Inn,
I think there were two motels.
and then there was the Holiday Inn, right?
I was at the Lone Pine Linn,
Yeah.
something like that. Somehow, I don't know, but it was all one story. I know that. It was like, oh, shit.
Then 1 week was Mule Days, and they were all
Yes,
booked,
yes.
so I had to move to a motel 20 miles
I hear
further
it's
north.
cool.
You know, I did a movie called Mule Days years ago. And I went to Bishop, and we actually filmed all that stuff.
There you go. That's
The
why I
famous
lost my
Mule
room.
Days? You did that?
That one.
But the town really existed. They built that town.
Behind the-
We drove out. Was it 20 minutes into towards the borax
It
mines?
took forever to get out there, yeah.
Yeah, forever. Every
Yeah.
morning.
Lone Pine's a great place, but the dining is limited. It's
I was
basically,
gonna say-
basically chicken fried
You ever
steak.
go to that
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
museum?
Most nights.
They have wonderful
That was
movies,
Lone
and
Pine.
you can do any movie you want.
That was a great experience.
No, everybody was so nice. I mean, obviously the days were warm and there was a lot of dust and stuff like that, and everybody was just great.
Oh yeah, I tell you about my makeup department. My makeup, was comprised of a sock that they'd stuffed the actual dirt from that desert in, and they just whacked me in the face before I should make sure I was dusty enough.
Oh,
I
man.
think they did pump my eyes up.
Everybody
a
had
little
to
bit,
crawl in the dust. Do you remember the very first day of shooting?
It
And
was
you say it was
snowing.
very
It
hot.
was
Remember
snowing.
that day it was
Oh, that's-
snowing?
There was snow on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
but
First
first
day.
day, my first day of shooting, anyway.
Yeah.
Do you remember the dust
Freezing.
devils that used to come through?
Yes.
Oh my
Little
god,
dust
I
devils.
love
You'd be
this.
sitting in a chair and a little dust devil would come through just.
Blow everything
Oh,
over.
and you mentioned that when we were watching the movie just now, you mentioned the set decoration.
The set decoration was
And
wonderful.
basically, that was like two people, Beth and Mike
Perfection.
Malone.
Perfection was not a real town. It was all built in the middle of nowhere. All those
But
places.
every piece of sagebrush, everything you see
I appreciate
was
that so
placed and
Yeah, that is-
done
Yeah.
by an amazing
Especially doing a lot of movies
set
and films,
department.
right?
I-
Guys,
Yeah.
you know, sitting on other sets to see what they did there, like the place like that. It's
It's
impressive.
extraordinary.
Yeah, it
We
was-
even
Unfortunately,
had
it's all
snaddle
gone.
not snaddle. That's not even a word. Rattlesnakes. Oh yeah, the snake wranglers.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
we?
the snake wranglers.
We had people who wrangled snakes.
Every morning there was a snake expert would work his way through the set, making sure we didn't have any visitors.
Yeah.
And we were told in our motels, don't slip immediately into your shoes when you get out of bed. There could be a scorpion in it.
Oh, they forgot to warn me about that.
You know what was really
That
cool?
explains the swelling.
Exactly. Thank you. That's kind.
What was cool, Robert?
Wasn't it cool watching all those sets again? Like, I know we've seen the movie, but seeing those practical effects that in Chang's Market and coming through the floor and how they built those, and it was challenging, right? It didn't always go very well.
It didn't always
But
work. Yeah.
I assume you all know more about the movie than I do, but all of that, there were human beings, doing it all. I mean, like every single piece of it.
Yeah, it's true.
And then they had to crank it all back up, fix the roof, like how it collapsed. They would pump it right back up, whatever they did, and like fixed it. It was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the mechanical effects on the movie are amazing. It's not that we had a choice in the sense that there was really no CG at the time, but it is all practical effects, and it is all, as
There would
Vin
literally be
says.
like two guys in a hole.
Yeah.
And they put this bar inside the monster's mouth. And they go 1, 2, 3.
And the puppeteers, one of their favorite stories is my partner Brent Maddox saying to them, now we've got these, we've got $150,000 worth of rubber monsters. Can we get a hand puppet? Like a tentacle hand puppet? And they're like, oh, okay, the producer wants a hand puppet. All right, we'll make one. And we use that thing all the time.
Really?
In the close up of the car when it hits the windshield. When the thing that pulls the
Wait, there
tentacle
really was a
underground.
hand in.
Yeah, it's like half as long as your arm, and it's Tom Woodruff, who's the chief puppeteer of Amalgamated Dynamics, usually laying buried underground with just his arm sticking out. It's not like it's easy work, but we use the hand puppet way more than they ever expected.
Try going down in a 9-foot hole.
I still think the most impressive thing to me was like the old Corman trick, you know, when you did the glass.
Yeah.
For the was it the first scene where it was
For the mat, the cliff? Or?
Yeah, the matte painting.
the
Yeah.
cliff,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just desert, but what they used to do in the old days, they take a piece of glass and they put the camera and they would paint the cliff.
Oh no, that's what I was telling you about. Levi.
Yeah.
There's no real cliff.
Yeah.
It's an old trick from the old days.
Yeah, that's an old matte painting. We love that. We love that bit.
But even like when I was running, like, I didn't even pants on.
You running where?
I was running along that thing, the wooden
Yeah, the planks.
There
Yeah.
were people, thank you, the planks. There were people underneath
There
making it.
was
right?
literally a graboid behind you. Yes, there was.
There was actually a graboid
a
behind
big
me.
buoy coming behind you, and a jeep was towing it underneath the sidewalk, and knocking the boards.
Great people, man. Victor Wong, those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
There are a number of people who are no longer with us. Victor would be one of them.
BB.
Miguel.
BB,
Miguel,
Fred, Tony De
and,
Niro.
Fred Ward.
Fred
And one of the
Ward.
reasons I still enjoy seeing this film, and every time I watch it, I wait for Fred's perfect reactions. Just his looks at Val when the relationship is developing with Rhonda, and it's just all precious. And I'm so glad camera and direction had the good sense to catch all those moments.
Yeah.
There's so many quiet moments, just looks,
Yeah.
that help to make this film and grow that relationship. It's not just a monster movie in that respect. I don't even care for sci-fi, frankly. I mean, I sort of, until I became about 15, I loved it and then I grew up, and it's like, I don't know go to monster movies anymore, but I love these characters. I love the story, I love the characters, I love Bert, and so they said, "Do you want to be in a monster movie?" I said, I couldn't care less about a monster movie. I was looking for great characters and a great story, and the rest is history.
You know what I still notice, like every time I watch it tonight, like I've seen it a million times, I start to notice more and more of these little lines that are in there that are so funny. And I'm like, was that on purpose? Was that on purpose?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it
Was
really,
that on
really was.
purpose?
It's like,
Funny, you know,
A
it's
lot of it
interesting,
was. A lot of it you guys found.
You know.
You found moments that we didn't know were there.
There was, I remember one
was a
ad
lot of
lib
ad-libbing.
six out to me. There was not a lot, because Steve was asking me about this in regards to another movie we did together, Tremors 4. He was talking about ad-libbing. I said, I had too much respect for the writers to ad-lib anything. I would always check. We would do it the way it was written, and then sometimes check and say, Brent or you would come up and say, look, we just had an idea for a new line. Could you say it a little differently in this take? Or we'd say, could I try it this way?
Yeah.
But you always do it the original way first. Out of respect for the writers. But I remember when we were on The Rock, and
The spouses are fighting.
and I had that. Moment, hey, string bean, you do this and all that sort of thing, and you dragged our asses out here and all that sort of thing, and Fred Ward pulls him away, and Reba pulls
I love
him
that.
away, and
Let it go.
one of her lines was ad lib. She said, "I know. He thinks he knows everything." That was her. That was her ad lib.
That was like Reva's, 20th line in a movie. I mean, I was
Ever,
with
ever.
her when she said her first line, and she
great.
came up with this ad lib that, and dailies were all like, "Oh, that's so perfect."
I know,
So
I
stellar.
know. Thinks he knows everything.
And I want to add on to what you said about Fred. To me, and maybe I was younger and I'm different, he was like that. He was just a real guy. To me,
He was a wonderful
he was
man.
a real dude, And to me, like when I watch him on screen, and again, I was younger, but like I felt he was like that guy.
He was,
He
actually.
was just a real.
Yeah.
He was so
dude.
cool. I got to ride in the van with him every morning. That's all I got to say.
So did you film it chronologically, which would help develop that relationship? Those relationships?
A lot.
Boy.
A lot.
Well, yes and no. Finn came out of live TV and stage,
Right.
and she had a heck of a time
Yeah.
with us coming in and said, "Okay, we're shooting the end of the movie now. Now we're going to shoot the beginning." And she turned to Ron and said, "Look, just tell me what the heck I'm supposed to be doing right."
Not only that,
I really didn't
we
know
shot
what I was
all the
doing.
exteriors in the desert.
Right, and then we went
And
to.
we did, then weeks later,
Yeah,
like
weeks later.
5 weeks later, we
We're
went to
up
the
at
studio to shop all the
Magic Mountain.
interiors.
Because actually, the answer is no.
So you
we
would
did
see us
not
walking
shoot
to
in
Chink's
sequence.
Market
actually, there's
and
the
not see
answer.
the stuff come out of the ground until we went
Okay,
on that for
so
5
we did
weeks
not
later.
shoot in sequence.
No, no.
So out of sequence. is-
Usually it has to do with availability of sets, locations and things like that.
And
So it's like,
Rita was flying in and out just to
yeah,
accommodate
she
the
was
movie, wasn't
still
she? I
doing some
mean,
concerts.
Yeah.
and stuff,
I remember
but she
her.
had to fly in and out to go
Well,
sing somewhere. I guess she sings, doesn't she?
I heard that.
What?
The very beginning and the very end all had to be shot.
Is that
back
her
to
on the
back.
radio when the car goes down with Conrad?
Yeah.
Was that her on the radio?
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Is that,
No, she
Oh,
didn't.
right.
She didn't.
so in universe, does Reba exist as a singer then? Like, does it? Sorry, if it's like it's Reba on the radio, or is it like
Oh.
Heather's like twin sister or something? Sorry, I didn't mean to wrinkle the brain there. That's just.
You guys were so great in that basement scene, man. Like, you guys created that crush.
And that was done at the very end of the piece too. After we had come home from the desert, that was shot at a studio in Valencia,
Mhm.
California. So
Cool, 'cause
near
we
Magic
had all that
Mountain, if anybody knows that
But you
area. We were,
crushed the chemistry of it. You just
Yeah.
crushed the moments. Like, you guys did a
Well,
good job. You guys did a really good job.
Sometimes
Wasn't
it's
that
just-
great, the basement scene?
Oh, it's
That's awesome.
That's one of my favorite things when I first saw the film, when they back up against that wall and that wall of guns is revealed. I just love watching the audience react to it because they have no idea. It was a beautiful reveal just for that back.
That's Ron.
That's
And
beautiful.
then,
I
of
knew
course,
exactly
these
how
guys
to
do the
shoot
great
that
writers there.
shot.
Then they have that second step with the elephant gun in the
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just when you
One
think like
quick-
that's the big deal, right? Then you have the elephant gun. Like,
I have to tell you one quick story about Bibi. God bless her. We've lost her. But we were shooting out in Valencia and it was really night. It was kind of cold. And so when we got ready, we were talking about how we were going to do this. And all of a sudden she took off and she started running all over the place and up the hill and down the hill. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" She said, "I'm getting ready to pull your ass out of that hole."
Oh, funny.
So that was not at Lone Pine. That's that scene with you guys.
No, no. Well, the car got put in very late.
Yeah.
We were devastated.
Wait, I thought you
Universal
guys-
made us take the car out because it was too expensive. I don't know what we were going to do with your character in that instance, but and then
Fights you had.
about halfway through the shoot,
They didn't want the car.
Universal
It was too expensive.
was liking the movie. They were liking the dailies, and I went back to our chief executive, who was a really good movie guy. He knew movies backwards and forwards. He was the one who greenlit Tremors. He knew what it was. It was this weird B movie twist thing, but he was also a budget guy. And I said, "What about sinking cars? Never been a sinking car in a movie, you know?" And he said, "Well, send me a budget." So we sent him 3 more days, and he okayed it. And that's why we ended up shooting down in Valencia instead of out in Lone Pine,
I didn't
because
realize- I
it
thought
was
you
the
did.
last minute car sinking scene.
Oh.
That's a pivotal scene too.
Yeah.
Like that's yeah.
Oh, I hate to think of the movie without the car sinking.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
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 And Mindy was out for a while.
especially that cut, like when they find the car and they brush off the light, and then you see them on the horses.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not have that in the movie?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really? Well, he knew. You know, the guy was good. And I called him. I said, "Gotta have the sinking car." "All right, give me a budget."
Well, on that note, was there a lot of like roadblocks that like stopped production for like periods of time, or was it just smooth sailing most of the time?
Well, most of the time we were shooting so far from any road, there was no.
No, he's
No.
talking about were there roadblocks, people stopping the shooting? Were there any things
Oh, no,
that
no, no, no,
interfered
we-
with the progress of the film?
They okayed the first script, which did not have Mindy, did not have the car, and then pretty early on they put Mindy back in, and then much later they put the car back in. But no, otherwise we just went as fast as we could go. No, they never. In fact, they began helping us. They liked the movie. They liked the dailies they were seeing. They loved what the cast was doing, and they began supporting us at that point. In fact, they sent a guy out to help me on second unit. My second unit went from like 10 guys to like 50 guys, and he just said, "You need more people," and I said, "Okay." And that's how we on second unit we were doing crazy
you
things
explain
like
second unit?
actually sinking the bulldozer in the ground.
Tell them about what second unit, what it is.
Explain
Oh, second unit is it's all the weird little bits and pieces where you don't see the actors. Here's an example.
Turn
So-
a key.
yeah, hands turning knobs. In this, and there's one instance where Fred drives the bulldozer up and stops next to Bert's house, and then you cut to a close up of the treads of the bulldozer, and they sink into the ground. That shot a whole different day with a whole different crew, with the same bulldozer, and the crew has dug an enormous pit and put all kinds of supports underneath it that they can pull out and make the bulldozer drop, and we spend half a day getting that.
All those little details where you don't need the actors to be there, all those little shots.
Even close-ups of Reba and Michael's hands making the bombs. That was two people dressed like them who drove me crazy because they were very slow. Going, this is so urgent, and they're like, I'm just cutting the thing, and I'm an extra.
So this was on, who owned the, is it national land,
Say again?
forest land, BLM land?
Who owns
We started with
yeah.
BLM land,
Right.
and we got in trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
But they were really, they had a tight rein on
Yeah.
things like the movement up, I don't know if it's sagebrush, whatever the,
Plants.
We couldn't touch anything. We were on private land.
we not disrupt too much of the.
Meanwhile, the death
environment.
double would come through and just rip it up.
Was the town of Perfection on private land?
It was on private land. It's still private land.
Yep.
And the fellow who owns it now is on the fence about whether he wants people trooping
Yeah.
in to look at the location. There's nothing there. The town was torn down, hours after we left. In fact, we had to put part of the town back to shoot the end of the movie with Kevin and.
Oh, that's
and,
right, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there was just a little piece of the town when you did your kiss scene. But yeah, in fact, the BLM came screaming over the hilltop when we started building the town, thinking we were on their land. We said, no, this is a little island of private land right here.
That's right.
And
I feel like there was always like some trooper type person showing
Yeah.
up, you know?
yeah, it was an issue that we had to pay a fine one time because we went through BLM land to get to the Boulder location at the very end of the movie, and the transportation department got very frustrated with having to bring their big trucks up this little dirt road, so they just widened it a little bit, and the BLM was not happy about that. So
Steve, didn't you and Brent have a lot to do with Ron ending up directing it?
well, we bugged him a lot. Yes, we drove him crazy. It was a labor of love because we had known Ron forever. Ron was the one who hired us to do our first little short movies back in the day, and it was a dream to be able to all work together and to get Ron up as a director, because Ron had decided to walk away from Short Circuit. We wrote Short Circuit as a low budget movie,
Right.
and Ron was going to direct. And when he heard that MGM or TriStar was going to buy it, he said, "Okay, I can't be. You guys got to let me go. I'm leaving." And we said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "No, you can't have me attached to this movie. Trust me." And of course, we ended up with John Badham. So it bugged us forever, that Ron wasn't directing a feature. So part of Tremors was to do that. It was to have producer control of our own movie and to get Ron up as a director. That was.
And Ron came up, he did City Slickers.
Yeah, and he did City Slickers, did okay with that.
Ron will be here tomorrow.
And Ron will be here.
He's flying in tomorrow
He
morning.
is attending his mother-in-law's 97th birthday.
Aw, yeah.
So he had to miss tonight.
97.
Yeah.
And Conrad, what is?
I'll be 92 next month.
That's
Cool.
pretty good.
I'm still taking vermiculite out of my head.
Are we wrapping?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Off
wrapping.
to the-
Ooh, hold on. I was gonna say, did you want to tell them too?
What's that?
You gotta tell them.
Oh, I gotta make
Hold
my
on, hold on. Steve has some news. Sorry.
One last announcement. So there have been rumors for a long time that Stampede Entertainment, my company, might get the rights back to Tremors. There is good news and marginal news about that. What has happened is, due to a quirk in U.S. copyright law, a lawyer has gotten me and my partner the rights to the original script. We now own our script again.
Doesn't belong to Universal anymore.
Now, that is the U.S. rights only. So at this moment, we could remake Tremors with that script and sell it only in the U.S. Nobody would finance that, mind you. So we still have to get Universal to the table with foreign rights and agree to a licensing deal to do something realistically with the movie. Then the other marginal part is, we don't own Shriekers, we don't own Ass Blasters, we don't own the rest of the franchise. We have the rights to our original script, but we're in negotiations, some of them fairly serious, with a number of people about, well, what can we do with that? So
You can spit me back up out of the hole.
Yeah,
out
cool.
of the hole.
Beetlejuice.
Glad it worked, man. Yeah, you're always welcome.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody.